Recording is stopped.
It was, I think, in continuation with the previous one. So I started a fresh one.
Okay, great. Okay, so welcome again, everybody. Happy Navratris. We will get started by our opening through by getting the blessings of God and Guru. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsuchanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right, Radhe Radhe. We can do one more shloka for Devi because it's Navratri. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Vishnu Mayeti Shabdita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. All right. Welcome. Let's get started. So, we are on the journey of chapter 2, the key highlights that we are discussing for the benefit of people who might have joined late. So, we are coming to the end of Sankhya Yoga explanation by Lord Krishna. Today, we will conclude that discussion so that we can have a segue into the Buddhi Yoga aspect of it, where Lord Krishna is going to talk about the science of work. What is the consciousness in which we need to operate while we do work? And that is where we are going to spend majority of our time this week. However, today we will conclude our discussion on the Sankhya Yoga aspect of it. So let's get started. I picked up a shloka today, which you're going to resonate with like all the other shlokas. So let's get started. Plus, we are going to discuss a very important concept as well today. It's going to be an interesting conversation. So let's get started. I'm going to recite it. You're welcome to follow along. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Okay.
So many people have raised hands.
We can probably take 4 or 5 and then we'll see how we place. So let's get started.
Yes. More Mukherjee, Samji, Radhe Radhe.
More
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Sukha dukke same kritva labha labhau jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi.
Wonderful, very nice.
Udayji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Udayji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Sukha dukke same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Radhe Radhe.
Nice Udayji. Radhe Radhe.
Shri Vatsaji, Radhe Radhe.
Shri Vatsaji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi.
Wonderful. Shri Vatsaji.
Dineshji, Radhe Radhe. Please go
Radhe
ahead.
Radhe Dineshji.
Radhe Radhe. Sukha dukhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, wonderful. Dineshi, very nice. Let's take the remaining hands real quick.
Sumeshi, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Sumeshi.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Sukha same kritva labhalabhau jayadayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva nayam papamavapsyasi.
Wonderful. Sumeshi, Radhe Radhe.
Ayurji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे
No, no.
सुख दुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभलाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि. राधे राधे.
Very nice, Palji. Radhe Radhe. Okay. Let's take a few more hands.
Anita ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे
Radhe Radhe.
सुख दुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि. Thank you.
Wonderful. Very nice, Anita ji. Okay, let's take a few more hands.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe, Rahul ji, please go ahead.
राधे राधे
Radhe Radhe, Rahul.
दुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभलाभो जया जयो ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि.
Wonderful, Rahul. Very nice. Okay, last three hands we can take real quick.
Lakshmi ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radha Lakshmi ji.
Unmute her.
Radhe everyone. Me Ritva Balabhaya Jayo Tato Yuddhaya Yujasva Naivam Papam Avapsyasi. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshmi ji. Radhe Radhe. Okay, last two hands we can take.
Akshata ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Akshita ji.
राधे राधे सुख दुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभ जया जयो ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि.
Very nice. Okay, last two hands then. I see one more. Okay, we can quick cover them real quick.
Yeah, Pragi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Pragi ji.
राधे राधे
Radhe Radhe.
सुख दुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभ लाभो जया जयो ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापम् अवाप्स्यसि.
Wonderful. All right, last hand and then we get started.
Anji, Riya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Riya ji.
सुख दुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जया जयो ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापम् अवाप्स्यसि. राधे राधे.
All right, Radhe Radhe, very nice. Let's get started then. A very warm welcome to all of you and a very happy Navratris as well. It's the second day in India, the first day here in US. So let's get started. Lord Krishna in this shloka is telling Arjun, fight for the sake of duty, treating alike happiness and distress, loss and gain, victory and defeat. And then he goes on to say, fulfilling your responsibility in this way, you will never incur sin. The reverse of that, you have to read, understand that. He's saying, fulfilling your responsibility in this way, you will never incur sin. That means if you don't fulfill your responsibility in this way, you will incur sin. Right? That is the interpretation of this. So let's get started now. Okay, so we'll do a quick recap of what we have been discussing, just so that we know how we came here. How does a car move? Okay. If you were to tell, how does a car move? So here's the car, here is the car. Right? Now I'm a mechanical engineer. I would explain you how the car moves. That's a different matter that I was not so good at my mechanical engineering, barely scraped through. So when I was given a choice of, picking up a subject, maths and biology, right, there were only two options. Either my son is going to be a doctor or an engineer. Okay. And if he's going to be neither, no, regardless of what he's going to be, finally he's going to be an IAS, right? This is how Indian parents, they typically raise their kids. Doctor, engineer, and then finally IAS. So anyways, I was equally bad at both. And then I thought, rather than playing with human lives, let's play with machines. So that's why I became an engineer. And being a mechanical engineer, I would know less about anything. I mean, even today, if you ask me to change a bulb, that's probably my only claim to fame as an engineer. But let's understand how the car moves. So the car, if car is moving, you would trace it back to wheels. You'll say the wheels take it wherever they want to take it, right? So wheel is responsible for the motion of the car. You can go a little further and say, no, it's actually the crankshaft, right, that moves, that actually is resulting in the motion of the wheels. If you trace it even further, it's actually the piston. Piston is making those movements, which is getting converted into the lateral movement of the crankshaft, which is resulting in the motion of the wheel. And that is also not, if you go further, piston would say it's because of the combustion that is happening in the cylinders, the movement is happening. And that is happening because of the spark that is produced because of the accelerator. But that is also not where the story stops, right? It's actually the steering wheel which is navigating that. That is also not the end of it. It's actually somebody behind that steering wheel, right? Person behind the wheel who's actually driving that car. So we think the thing is moving, but actually the true identity which is responsible for it, if you loosely have to relate it to our body, you may think yourself as a body. It's just like somebody is driving a car and somebody is driving a Ferrari and the other person is coming in a BMW and say, who are you? He said, I'm a Ferrari. The other person says, I'm a BMW. That's not the case, right? So similarly, the true identity is the inspirer here is the person behind the wheel. And similarly, in our body, the inspirer is the soul. That is the true identity. We may think of ourselves as so many other things which get inspired, but this is how it goes back. We go to the source. Who is the inspirer? And the person behind the wheels is the true inspirer. And that is the concept of soul that Lord Krishna is told Arjun about in the Sankhya Yoga. Okay, let's look at it from another angle, just to look at it through another analogy. If you look at it, the body, right, it's just an amalgamation of different organs and matter. Science says that all these, the matter is what we are, right? All the chemicals, organs, heart, lungs, liver, pancreas, all that stuff. But where does the consciousness come? It says when the matter has some subtle interactions, nuanced and fine interactions, that gives rise to consciousness. So basically, it's more like, as we would see, it's more like a chemical reaction is what they consider as a consciousness. Scientists, if you ask them, they have no explanation for consciousness. They say when the matter interacts with itself and when the interactions become finer and finer and finer, that's where the consciousness comes out. It's almost like a chemistry, reaction is happening, and then that's becomes consciousness. That means there's a chemical reaction which takes away that consciousness, which is called death. Now, we know in science, under certain conditions, you can reverse a chemical reaction. But has anybody been able to restore back life? Nobody can. And that's what Walt Disney's, the founder of that guy had faith in science that one day they will be able to learn the art of resurrection. The humans will be able to figure out how to regenerate consciousness or reverse this chemical reaction that happens between the interaction of the different matter within the body. He had firm faith in that. And so he said, preserve me in liquid nitrogen, which is called, I think, cryogenics technology. Preserve me. So one day when the science will be able to figure it out, they can bring me back to life. And he has so much of faith that he did not write his will to his kids. Right? He sat on a fortune of billions and billions of dollars in that liquid nitrogen. He was resting there. Finally, some stink started coming out from that refrigeration and looks like somebody pulled the plug out of it. People were not happy. His own kids were not happy that he did not leave the legacy behind, and he was hoping to be resurrected one day. So point here being, consciousness is explained in our scriptures. It's not an interaction of matter. It is the fragmental part of God, which is very subtle. Mame vansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Lord Krishna is saying that. That is what consciousness is. And we have spoken about the concept of soul. It is very subtle. It resides in the region of heart. And the symptom of soul is consciousness, which basically makes our entire body sentient. And when somebody says somebody passed away, what passes away? The body is still there. The consciousness passes away, and it simply transmigrates from one gross body to another. Even in this life, we transmigrate. We don't transmigrate, we migrate from one body to another because our body is constantly changing. And death is nothing but another migration to another gross body, basically. That's how our scriptures explain us. So let's move on. Today we are going to talk about, we are in Mrityulok, earthly planet. Now, who gets the privilege to come here? Good people, bad people, extraordinary people, horrible people. We'll see that, okay, what kind of people get the privilege to become the son-in-law of God in this planet, basically. Okay. So this is what we will touch upon, this concept. Now, let's see how we got in here. We were 2.36 when Arjun says, I'm not going to fight the battle. Lord Krishna says, you know, you will suffer humiliation and it will not be good, basically. It will be very painful. And then he told him, if you fight either way, either you're going to enjoy kingdom or you will go to celestial abodes. So in both hands, you have laddus, you have everything to gain. So go ahead and fight. And then he goes on to say that fight for the sake of your duty. He says that's the duty. Okay. We'll touch upon this duty aspects a little more today. And then in this particular shloka is saying, but when you fight, make sure you are treating happiness, distress, loss, gain, victory, defeat with equanimity. If you fight with that attitude, then you will not incur sin. But if you don't fight with that attitude, that means you are incurring sin and it is a binding karma. And that is where the science of Buddhi Yoga is going to talk about this concept in greater detail, which we are going to spend a good amount of time for the rest of the week. And that is where at 2.39, Lord Krishna says that the analytical knowledge of the nature of the soul is where I am going to complete it. 2.39 is a inflection point from that sense. But now we are at a conjecture where Lord Krishna is going to switch gears again, and from Sankhya Yoga, he is going to transition into Buddhi Yoga, right? The science of work. This is where we are going to spend our time. Okay, so let's continue the discussion on the shloka itself. Again, pendulum is back. What Lord Krishna is saying is that treat these two yin yangs, happiness, right, with equanimity. These are again the two sides of the same coin. And he's saying, don't get swayed like a pendulum. When you're fighting a battle, have equanimity around it. It's like regardless, you are just doing your duty. Forget about the results. You treat them both of these imposters with equanimity or a sambhav, so to say. Okay, that's what Lord Krishna is saying. Continuing on. Now, after having motivated Arjun from the mundane level, now Lord Krishna is going a little deeper into the science of work. Right? He's told him mundane level. What was the mundane level? Call of duty. The call of duty that he made, it's a basic stuff for very, very basic level for human beings. That is where Lord Krishna starts. Now he's going deeper. He said, all right, performing your duty is fine, but that's not the end of the story. Performing a duty is still a binding karma. It is not a spiritual endeavor. Let's understand that. If somebody says, I'm doing my duty, so I'm fulfilling the responsibility towards God, not necessarily. It's a noble deed, but it is still not perfectly directed. And that is why Lord Krishna is going deeper. Now he's getting into this deeper science of work. Performing duty in what consciousness will truly be liberating and not binding. Okay. Now he's Arjun, we know that he had expressed his fear because he didn't want to kill his enemies and he thought it will incur sin. And that is the apprehension that he's addressing. He's saying you do it, but without attachment to the fruits of your action. Right? When he's saying don't sway on either side, that means insulate yourself from the fruit of your actions. That will release you from the sinful reactions. And become detached from the outcomes. Focus on your duty. And when you fight with an attitude of equanimity, treating both the sides, regardless of whether you win or lose, pleasure, pain, treat it all, same. That is when you will not incur sin. This concept is introduced in the shloka by Lord Krishna, which obviously he's going to expound much more in subsequent shlokas, and that's where we're going to spend a good amount of time. Okay. And in 5.10 also, Lord Krishna is saying the same. He's saying, just as a lotus leaf is untouched by water, those who dedicate their actions to God, abandoning all attachment, remain untouched by sin. Dedicate all their actions to God. Now, if you're not doing that, that means, now for us, the definition of sin or pap is doing something bad. That is what we think. What is pap or sin? Now, God is saying any action that you don't dedicate to God is a sin. It's a very deep definition. That means pap and punya, both are sin. Punya is also sin. Why? Because it is binding. We will see in more detail today. Pap is sin anyways. Even punya is sin for that matter, because it will bind you. It will not liberate you. It will not take you past the material world. It will have its own effects, results, but it is not perfectly directed as yet. Okay. So when we work with, now we get into the topic that we are going to touch upon today. When we work with selfish motives, we create karmas, which bring about their subsequent karmic reactions. Mathar Stuti says, Punyena punyalokam nayati papena papamu bhyameva manushyalokam. So this addresses the question, what kind of people actually dwell or get the privilege to come on Mrityulok, earth, which is where we are. Okay. Let's look at it. Good deeds, punya, that we do, where does it take us? It takes us to celestial abodes, which is called a golden jail. Okay. It is a jail, which is a golden jail. It's like luxury jail. You are kept under house arrest. All the luxuries, better luxuries are available, but it is still a jail because it is in material world. If somebody does bad deeds, that person goes into nether regions, hellish abodes, right, to bear the consequence of their bad deeds, and they're still in 8.4 million, right? So good deeds, bad deeds, both end of the spectrums we have looked at. Now, how about the Mrityulok? Now, if somebody does a mixture of both, they are the ones who will come to the planet Earth. So hopefully this puts things in perspective. That the fact that we are repeating here, that means we are doing all right. Some good, some bad, mixed bag kind of a deal. And these result in material rewards, which add to the stockpile of our karmas and thicken the illusion that there is happiness in the world. We continue chasing that here. This also puts in perspective this question that often keeps coming up in this world. That, hi Ram, why do bad things happen to good people? If we were truly good, we will not be here to begin with. Okay, so first of all, let's correct this understanding that we are all right people. Okay, not any great. And this very concept of the question that keeps popping up, good things happen to bad people, and bad thing happens to good people, and bad people are enjoying life and all that stuff, that's not actually true. Okay, you may see it in one horizon, but it's a continuum of lifetimes that we have to look at. So first of all, nobody is truly good. If it was that the case, then we would have gone to Swarglok. Possibly we have already gone there and come back from there as well. So we are kind of an okay people. And the problem happens, it's like we are all in a conditioned state in a jail together. And the fight is happening between jailmates that, you know what, your sin is bigger than mine. I only cheated or stole and you are a murderer, so you are worse than me. That is where the fights happen, right? Between people in this world. We are all like 19 ka farak kind of deal. And we keep on fighting and finding faults in each other and fight all those, problems, conflicts that happen. But actually, if you think about it, we are all sailing in the same boat. It's for a reason. We have been chosen to cohabit with the set of people that we despise, we don't like. Why? Because we're all almost like that only. And there's a reason why we have been repeated with those kind of people that bother us or trouble us, or we have so much of hard time dealing with them. But the fact of the matter is, it's not like what we have desired. We have deserved and called for it. So it's not to make us feel bad. It's just to put things in perspective that it's our own calling, basically, that we have repeated in Mrityulok, because we have done a mixed bag of things. And now is an opportunity to start moving it towards Gunatit aspect of it. God goes even beyond Pap and Punya. Okay, so next time this question comes in your mind, why do bad things happen to good people and all? First of all of us are all right people. Okay, you can't just claim a certificate of being good, because that was the case, you would have been in some other loka, not made to repeat in this material world. Okay, and the people who are around you, who are bothering you, are the ones who are there to uplift you in this journey. Okay, because if they are not there, you will continue here only. Like Swamiji says, even Kabir Das, jo hai nindak niyere rakhiye. He can cleanse you even without soap and water. So if somebody is bothering you, whoever it is, your relative, near one, dear one, friend, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law, they are there for a reason. Learn the lesson and move on, as opposed to keep complaining about it, because that is not going to serve the purpose. We are all in the same jail for a good reason. Okay, and the focus should be not on, it's like if we are cohabiting a jail and our efforts and endeavors is to make our life comfortable in jail, that is also not a very smart strategy. So if you're thinking, let me connect with the jailer or maybe that person so that I can get good food, maybe a comfortable sleep and things like that. That is essentially what we are doing when we go to Devi Devatas. We are not thinking about getting out of the jail. We are thinking about remaining in the jail and making our life comfortable. That is another aspect of it. So if you think about it, smarter strategy is, how do I get out of here? But we keep complaining, oh, so much of misery, this, that, but our efforts are directed towards making our lives comfortable in the jail itself. And that is what we continue doing when we go to God and ask for mannats. We do pujas, ask for comforts, go to Devi Devatas. All these efforts are basically saying, okay, I'm okay in the jail, but please make it comfortable for me here. Okay, so that is not going to happen, because Maya will continue slapping us, because Maya is subservient to God. Maya is God's dasi, and its job is to push us towards God in different ways, no matter what we do. Okay, so hope it answers the question that why are we here, right? We have been given this privilege for a good reason, so we need to make the most of it. But the good thing of being here is, I'll tell you now the good thing. It should not be disheartening. If we go to Swarglok or Nether regions, they are called Bhogyonis. You cannot do any addition to your bank balance there. You can only bhogify it and come back, whether it is Pap or Punya. In this Mrityulok, you have an ability to make deposits also. So to do Purusharth also. Devatas don't have that option, and people in nether regions also don't have an option. They simply reap the rewards for their good deeds or get the whack for their bad deeds and then come back. We can actually exit directly from Mrityulok only. We cannot exit from any other lok. So that is the golden opportunity in that sense. So the higher the thread, the greater the opportunity in that sense. Okay, so that is the benefit of repeating in Mrityulok. So that's why they say even Devatas, see, when they're Devatas, they understand the big picture. They get the knowledge, but they cannot do any addition to their Purusharth at that point. Then they say, okay, only if we become humans, we will make the most of that golden opportunity. But when they become humans, they start seeking the same kind of things that they were seeking in celestial abodes as well, and this vicious cycle continues. Unless come in contact with a true guru, and that can change the course or the trajectory of our lives. So that is how it goes. Okay. Why did the coffee spill? Anybody know? I'm sure you would have seen the video or Googled or whatever. Before we go any further, anybody wants to take that question? Why did the coffee spill? It's a very important question to know. Yes, let's take it from a few participants. Go ahead, Sandhya.
Coffee spilled because coffee was there inside the cup. If there was anything else, then that would have spilled. Whatever is inside comes out. Not coming from Swamiji.
Anybody has any other additions or alternate thoughts around it? Why did coffee spill? I'll get into that. It's a very important thing to understand here. Levaniji, you had an answer too, I believe. Have you changed your answer or it has already been answered? Okay, I'll unmute you. Let's hear from a couple of participants.
Levaniji, Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. I had same answer.
Same answer? Ditto.
Yeah.
Okay. Ditto is the same answer. That's nice. Yes, Udayji and Joanji, we will quickly take you and then I'll move forward.
Radhe Radhe Udayji. Udayji.
Yeah, I think the coffee has spilled. Yeah, I think the person who is working on that system, yeah, loss is there. He has to take that loss with equanimity because he was on the work and by mistake it has spilled. Yeah, his work has been spoiled. Yeah, definitely he has to take with that sentiment and emotion.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, coffee spilled. That's a very important thing. Real quick, couple of hands. I'll move forward.
Yeah, Joanji.
Radhe Radhe. I think because it is perhaps a debt that he has to pay back. Coffee spilling causing him to redo whatever he was doing, and it's a loss. So I see it as a debt that he has to repay. I could be wrong, but that's my
No, that's
thought.
fine. You've engineered a super engineered solution for that. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting perspective as well. Very nice. Thank you. We'll take probably one more real quick and then move on. Okay, let's quickly take. It's actually, yeah, I don't want to spend too much time, but I'll get into the topic, map it to what we need to learn from this and move on. Maybe one more hand and we can move forward then. Farhana, maybe new hand. I see one new name. Ratnaji, Farhanaji, let's hear from them. New names I can name.
Farhanaji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. I feel like, the coffee was in the cup, right? So that's why it spilled really,
Yes, very true. True, very true, very true. Yes, Ratnaji, you wanted to add as well. Farhanaji, where are you joining us from?
Oops. Farhanaji, can you re-raise your hand?
No worries, we'll come back. Ratnaji, please.
Well, Ratnaji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
I think another, just a literal sense, if I take, the reason why the coffee spilled was either the person who took the coffee should have just drank it without keeping it on the table, and yeah, or just being aware that keeps far away so that it doesn't spill.
Sure. All right, it can make for a fascinating conversation, but let me get back to the real part of it, the learning from it. So where are you joining us from, Farhanaji and Ratnaji?
Farhanaji.
Yeah, I'm joining from Colombo, Sri Lanka.
Oh, Colombo, Sri Lanka.
I'm glad that I'm in this community.
Oh, pleasure to have you on the session. I think you're probably the first participant from Sri Lanka. At least I haven't heard
I'm
before.
so humbled. Yeah, I'm so glad that I met this community,
Pleasure to have you. Would love to hear from you more often. Yeah.
I'm so grateful for all of you, including Swamiji, for giving us this opportunity to get so much of knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wonderful platform he's enabled for all of us, and we have a very closed group and a daily wisdom family, as you can say. It's kind of a routine, ritual, or a rhythm that we have gotten into on a daily basis. So glad to have you on it as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
Radhe Radhe.
Okay.
Ratnaji also.
Thank you, Nitinjay. I'm from Bangalore.
And I think we've spoken before, right?
Yes.
Yes. I'm glad to have you on the session as well, Ratnaji. Thank you. So yeah, let's get into. So the coffee part is basically. So yes, Swamiji's lecture, if you look at it, right, I really found it fascinating. Coffee was spilled because the cup had coffee in it. If it had tea in it, if it had soda in it, the soda would have fallen, right? Could have been any reason for that. Somebody might have distracted, or they did not drink it and all. But the point is, I think we spoke about this concept earlier also in one of the other session. When the squeeze is applied in our life, what comes out of us, that defines us. So if you apply a squeeze on a lemon, lemon juice will come out. If you apply a squeeze on a grape, grape juice will come out. And if you apply a squeeze on a person, what that person has inside will come out. So in this case, it has coffee, so coffee has come out. Okay. There are so many interpretations you can derive out of it, right? Lord Krishna is going to tell Arjuna that you are a Kshatriya. So act in accordance with your nature. Your odds of success in acting in accordance with your nature of success are much higher. But regardless, whatever you have inside will come out, like the coffee came out. Why? Because even if he goes and takes sannyas, he will find 4 or 5 tribal people, form a small army and start fighting wars around. So he will still has those tendencies of that being a Kshatriya. So whatever you have inside comes out. Okay. That is one part of it, is the guna aspect of it. Second is your nature part of it that can be improved over time. So what we have inside us, that quality, improving that quality, even in gunas, Lord Krishna is saying, go from tamas to sattva, tamas to rajas to sattva, and then gunatit. Not a linear function that you go step by step, but the point is you transcend. Don't give an excuse that my gunas, my sanskars are like that. You have a free will to override that. So the content that are there in your cup, that can be improved over time. And whatever is there that we have accumulated over time will come out. So when the squeeze is applied to our life as well, it comes out. Our nature, adversity reveals that. So there are two parts to adversity. It can build our character and it can reveal our character. Both can happen. Okay, it really depends on how we channelize that adversity. So yes, coffee got spilled because it had coffee in it. It was tea, the tea would have come out. It had soda, soda would have come out. If it had liquid nitrogen, I don't know how it would have come out, but that would have come out. So that is the whole idea. In case of Arjun also, Lord Krishna is telling him, you are a Kshatriya. Okay, so your coffee is that of having a propensity to fight and stand for justice. And that will happen. So this point of going to sannyas and all that stuff is a moot point. And if you see, if somebody is a businessman, even if they go to jail, they will find some way of doing it, right? Some kind of a small business, they will set it up. Somebody is fond of teaching, they will find 4 or 5 people and start giving their gyan, unsolicited gyan, right? Because they're fond of doing that. So our nature drives us, right? Whatever is in our cup actually defines us. So the content of that cup is something that we can work on, so that when it spills, it is beneficial and not something which is detrimental. Right? That example, beautiful example, Swamiji gives about East Germany and West Germany. Also, it's a beautiful example. When the wall was erected, the East Germans, they started throwing shoes, all the garbage and all that stuff on the other side, because they had a feeling of bitterness and enmity towards West Germans. And West Germans thought, instead of reacting, we can choose to give a better response. So they packed it with good clothes, fruit, vegetables, nice goodies, maybe some love letters, and sent it across. And that was a very nice response that actually put it, for those people, they just stopped after that. Even Nelson Mandela, when he was asked, when he was going through that period in prison, he was going through the prison, he was made to do such things, he was humiliated. People would spit at him. And he had some terrible experience with some of the guards there. And when he became president, he actually invited those guards and embraced them. Springboks used to be a hated word, a racist word in the history of South Africa, because it was synonymous with all the atrocities that were inflicted on the Black Africans. So he named the team Springboks and he was invited to that team, Nelson Mandela. He actually shook hand and embraced them. He said, if I would keep that resentment, bitterness within me, we would never achieve the dream of having a unified nation. And that is the spirit he had. So his cup of coffee was, something which was very uplifting when it spilled out. We all have our cup of coffee. Arjun too has it. Krishna is telling him. So we need to make sure the contents, when they get spilled out, are actually something good for others and for us, hopefully, in the process as well. So that was the whole idea. Now, talking about Swadharma, we have spoken about, I'll briefly touch upon this concept and then we get into our next segment. Let's look at Swadharma. It's an important concept we spoke about, that what you think of Swadharma. If nobody follows Swadharma, it is like the traffic lights God has imposed because he has put it on this earth, right? If nobody does that, nobody follows the rules, then there is no difference between us and animals. So for us to even justify our existence as humans, we have to follow the dharma applicable at a bodily platform for as long as we are not situated at the level of soul. So that is one aspect of Swadharma. And then if you look at the higher Swadharma, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Jiver Swarupo Nitya Krishna Das. This is the spiritual Swadharma. It is a topmost real dharma or spiritual Swadharma. Nothing beats it. And that is the whole purpose of our existence. The sooner we get to that, the better off we are. And if we have not established yet in love for God and we prematurely give up our material duties, this is the concept we are going to get into in more detail now. We cannot prematurely give up. So it's not like, you have not learned the lessons of kindergarten and primary and you have directly jumped into the high school and the college. It doesn't work that way. And we have to go through this academy or the university of this material world and fast track our progress. But we cannot turn our back superficially and hope that we are ready for the next thing. So we have to go through those lessons as well. So we are neither here or nor there. Falgu Vairagya aspect, we'll get into that later. So we cannot take karam sannyas or give up our bodily dharma unless we are fully qualified for it. And that qualification is determined by Guru. We cannot judge that for ourselves. It's a very subtle thing. And if you want to become a graduate, we cannot directly go to graduation ceremony. We have to do learn all the lessons sequentially right from grade 1. And which grade we are on right now, we don't know that. Only God and Guru would know that. That is why when you come in contact with the true Guru, they will give you certain sevas, certain things, certain assignments, which will help you graduate from the level that you are on to the next level. And then final dharma is surrender. Lord Krishna is going to tell about a lot of dharmas along the way. This yoga, that yoga, this dharma, that dharma. Finally, he's going to say, abandon all varieties of dharma, simply surrender unto me. I'll liberate you from all the sinful reactions. Do not fear. That is the ultimate thing. But surrender is a journey. It's not a unit step function that I wake up and I say, I'm surrendered today. It may happen if we have reached an advanced stage of renunciation, detachment, dispassion, and love for God. But until then, we have to continue working towards it. With that, any questions? We wanted to give some time to, I think, Shivali Sandhya. They wanted to talk about a little bit about some opportunities here of, extending the outreach of our sessions and some of the sevas we can get involved in, because I keep getting, people say we want to do some kind of a seva. So we do have a platform, some nicely thought through work items that we have thought through about, that I would let them talk about it, and then we can get to the question answer segment of it as well. Do I want to stop share? Is it going to be Sandhya? Sure. I'm going to stop share for a bit and let her talk about it.
Oh, okay. No questions right now. So maybe first I'll do quickly the announcements.
Sure.
So happy Navratri, everyone. And as you all might know, the Navratri celebrations have started at the Radhakrishna temple today. There was Ghat Sthapna. And during the Navratri in the mornings, we also have a wonderful opportunity to do meditation with Swamiji in the morning. Online people can join. It's an online session. I've already posted the link in the chat at 10 a.m. CST. And then in the evenings, there is at the temple there is Garba, Dandiya. I mean, whoever is there in Dallas, definitely you must go and explore. There is like a proper food fest Mela. And otherwise, online also you can attend the Lalita Sahasranam and chantings. So this is all about Navratri. And then we also have like Swamiji's last tour in USA is going on right now in California, Sunnyvale. So whoever is there, please make use of the opportunity. And then India tours will start, and the details of Indian tours are also posted in the chat. I'll reshare the feedback tracker. So now coming to Seva, I'll make Chef Ali also a co-host. Just give me a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, let me just share my screen.
Hmm.
Sandhya, can you please allow me to share the screen? Thank
Can
you.
you just try?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Are you able to see my screen now?
No.
Okay. Let me share it.
You'll have to do a screen share or share screen. And then you have to keep your fingers crossed it happens. Yes.
Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay.
First, shall we give just a brief?
Sure.
Shall
Sure.
I give you?
Yeah, you can. I'll add in the end. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, this is regarding one of the Seva opportunity that all of us can contribute to. So we all we know that we have these sessions going on, and they get recorded and they get uploaded on the YouTube channel. So the idea is to capture some clips out of the session, short clips that can then further be forwarded across, like they can be spread among people as part of social media outreach, and they will all get benefited from what we are learning. So how to do that is going to be demonstrated in this video. And once we all understand how easy it is, then people can volunteer for this Seva opportunity.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Here is a demo video for how you can contribute for the Seva in two ways. First one is providing the timestamps from the YouTube videos. And second one is by taking the timestamps and splitting the required portion of the video by using an app. Watch this video and let us know in whichever Seva you are comfortable with. First one is go to YouTube and type Nitin Kaushal. Here you will find a lot of videos of the daily wisdom from Bhagavad Gita sessions. For example, you watch a particular video on YouTube. While watching, you can note down the timings, like from which part there is a concept that can be extracted to make a short reel. For example, I feel from 12 minute 13 seconds to 13 minute 15 seconds, there is an important concept whose short video can be made for a quick nugget or for the revision of this precious Tattva Gyan. You can note the timings and just provide the timings to us for whichever video you watch. The next step is, if it is visible for you, you can download this video online. There are several softwares and websites for this. After downloading this video, there is a video editing app called VN. You can download it on phone as well as on laptop, works perfectly fine on both. By opening the VN app, just import the video and bring that on the timeline. After this, you can find out the section that you want to cut. By right-clicking on that section that you want to cut, press the option of the split that you can see on the screen. Then remove the rest of the video, those sections that we don't want right now. You can then export that particular section and you can share this portion with us for further additions. Finally, that short video will look like this. Please have a look.
As you can see, the proximity and the distance between God and the bhav, based on the bhav that you are in, is shrinking, starting from Shant bhav all the way up to Madhurya bhav. One layer deeper, one layer deeper, one layer deeper, you will keep on getting with each bhav. In Madhurya bhav, you can step out in any of the lower bhavs. It's like when you have somebody as a beloved, it's easy for you to treat that person as a kid, as a friend, as a master, or as a king. You have all that options. However, if you treat somebody like a king, all of a sudden you cannot, just hang around with them as a friend or make them your beloved. And there's a protocol or a distance that has to be maintained, or an etiquette that needs to be maintained. The higher the bhavs that come underneath those are automatically covered in that.
Yeah, this is just a basic overview of how this seva can be done. You might be having more like creative ways and efficient ways of doing this, then please let us know. And if you have any questions, then you can like reach out to us.
And whoever is interested in contributing in this seva, volunteering for this, we have posted the feedback tracker. So you can just put your name in the feedback tracker, mentioning that you would want to contribute to this, and it will be amazing.
Yeah.
Nitinji, over to you.
Thanks, Sandhya and Shefali. So this is something interesting. Sandhya and Shefali, they've been doing this. They've taken the initiative on their own, and if you look at our Instagram page, they are taking out snippets. Rahul is assisting. Jyoti is assisting. We have a small team who keep creating content and extending the outreach. So this Tattva in small capsules, if it goes around, you never know who may get a hook, right? That's how even I got something. So it's a pretty interesting initiative they have taken. And if you're already watching the videos, it's a great way to get engaged in this seva. Couple of benefits. One, obviously, it'll revise the things that you are doing, and secondly, in the process, you can always give the timestamps, or if you want to go a step further, you can even create the video snippet out of it. But regardless, even getting the timestamp itself, if you feel it's a little overwhelming, that technology aspect of it, even that would be very helpful. Indirectly, it's going to help extend the message of Swamiji. All the gyan that we have gotten from him and Maharajji to maybe a lot of places, because we know how the power of social media is. It can reach out to thousands with a click of button. And even a small capsule, let's say the concepts of Karam Yog, principles of surrender, the different bhavs, the different type of dharma, those small nuggets, they help actually big time. One piece of knowledge can actually make a hook for somebody. So it's a great seva to get involved in, especially if you want to help out. Please do check it out and put your names in the feedback tracker, and we will get you in touch with Shefali, Sandhya. They can help you out from that point onwards.
One more thing to add, like I'm receiving messages, so don't worry about the video which was shown just now. That will be made available to you. You can rewatch it in case there's any doubt, and we are also there. So the idea of this demo video was just to introduce it to you, what we mean when we say timestamps or clipping out the videos. With respect to how to go about doing it, we'll be there and we can always talk and get ourselves started. So please put your names in the feedback tracker if you're interested, and we'll take it further then.
Yeah. So it will be of great help, I'm sure. They keep creating content, very creative content. If you check out our Insta page, if not already there, otherwise, and it's a great opportunity for us because we spend good amount of time, 1 hour here, and a lot of good things come out in our interactions. And if we can actually package it nicely and put it on social media, that will help spread this message even further and maybe help people develop a hook as well. So great. Anything else on this one? Or we can move forward. I think we can have a bit of a discussion on the topic that we discussed today. Any questions on what we discussed today? On Mrityu Lok, why we repeat here? and what the message of Lord Krishna to Arjun in this with regards to maintaining equanimity. And if we don't do that, it actually becomes a binding karma. And then we progress to Buddhi Yoga, the science of work aspect, which we are going to discuss for the rest of our week. Yes, I see one hand.
Yeah, I had one question.
Sure.
So I think if I got it right, you said that in the celestial abodes, we don't have an opportunity to become gunatit, right? We have to come back to earth to bhakti and do God realization. But then you also said that whoever comes to earth means that in the past janma they have done some bad deeds. Otherwise they won't come to earth.
Mm-hmm.
They have done a mixture of both the deeds, so at least some bad deeds. So if someone unknowingly doesn't know about binding and non-binding karma and ends up doing just good deeds, they will never have a chance to become God realized.
Why or not? Because when they do good deeds,
binding sense though, like sattva.
Yeah, if they do good deeds, right? It said that when you say good deeds, you have made certain deposit, right? And that deposit is something that will take you to the celestial abodes. And when you go to celestial abodes, it's a withdrawal only account. So when you have exhausted those deposits without having an ability to make further deposits, you're again back to 8.4 million. Now, God could put you on earth or some other yoni, we don't know, right? Indra's story is there. The beeline of ants that he saw, they were all past Indras. So you could again become an ant. That is also a possibility. Or you may be born in a family here. Or if you had developed enough dispassion or spiritual merit as well, in addition to sattva guna, then he may make us be born in a family where we can continue from that point on. So there's a very complex algorithm around it. But the point is, any meritorious deed which is done in sattva gives its fruit. And once that fruit is exhausted, you're again back into 8.4 million. Did I answer that question?
Yes.
You are accruing some merit. You are making a bank balance. And that bank balance will get depleted when you go to Swarg, because you are utilizing that bank balance without having an ability to make further deposits. And then when it utilizes, diminishes, you are again back.
Okay, yeah, Devanji has raised hand.
Yes, Devanji.
So my question is, so every human like accumulates good and bad karmas during lifetime, right? So after this, if they don't attain God realization, so I think they have to like reap the consequences of both, right? And maybe like most of them will have to go through both hellish and celestial abodes before taking next birth, right? Or how does this? I know that it's a like very complex system. Maybe sometimes it's happening instantly. They take another birth or something, but I think for most of souls, like they have to go like through both or something like this, right? Or how do you think about it?
So the accounting book, right? If somebody is an accountant here or understands accounting, the credit debit is maintained separately. So it's not like one good deed, one bad deed, cancel. Another good deed, bad deed, cancel. No, good deed, one separate balance, bad deed separate. And God only knows which one to pick up and give the result in which life, right? Or he may say, okay, let me package all your good deeds and send you to Swarg for a while. Or he may say, no, let me combine good and bad and send you to earth. Or he may say, let me take all your bad and send you to hell.
Maybe even like sending back to earth. I think that in the terminal phase, like from death to birth, soul has to go through some experience, like to erase all these like impressions and everything, and probably like leave out all these like impressions that were gained throughout the life.
It's a very complex algorithm. It's very difficult to understand. And Lord Krishna is going to talk about this concept, I think, in chapter 7, where he says, if I will make you get born in a family. Rare is a birth where you are born in a family where you get that spiritual upbringing right from the word go.
Yeah, but even in that place, Krishna is saying that he is like enjoying the celestial abodes first, and then like is born as in a good family or like a spiritually elevated family.
Yeah, he's not giving a formula, but he's telling you the possibilities.
Yes. Okay.
He may
Thank
choose
you.
to send you, go and enjoy and see what happens there, and then again you come back. So we don't know. But the best strategy is to keep on working on our spiritual assets, so that regardless of where we go, whenever we come back, if first of all, we should think about realizing God in this life itself. But at least if we don't, whenever we come back, we start from a good start. We have a head start in next life.
Definitely golden cage and like regular cage are both cage. So,
it's a golden shackle. So our look is golden
shackle.
shackles.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Yes, Surendra ji.
Surendra ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Prabhu Nitin ji.
Radhe Radhe.
I thought getting rebirth as a human is itself a boon the God has granted. As we said, even the celestial gods, they thrive for it. That's something.
That is a positive way of looking at it. Yes, very true.
Yes.
True. Getting a human birth is God's grace.
And then, because of your past karma, because of your past deposits, if you get Swamiji, Maharajji, Nitinji in that life, next life also, you are continuing with your good karmas, so that you continue to get the good knowledge about spiritual knowledge. That's also possible, and it's possible only because when you take a rebirth as a human.
Very true. But then our game plan should not be keep on taking rebirth, right? So the biggest thing is we should draw God's grace, which actually takes us this material ocean, so that we don't have to rely on, repeating on this earth and keep on accruing. But yes, it is a grace to become a human, because in human life you can achieve God. That is why it is said that there are only 3 graces God can do: making us human, having a spiritual spark because of our past sanskars, and making us meet with the Guru. After these 3, God cannot do any more grace. I mean, normal graces are there, then we only have to grace ourselves by continuing on the path that Guru has told us. But once we are past this, let's say we have God realization is complete, then we are not obligated to come back here. Right? We don't need this grace of becoming human again. Then we come here to serve God, or to come as his direct employee. Right? We say, okay, God, we will go there and serve people and get you back to the Godhead, get them back to their home. And God also keeps on sending the saints, which have a good influence on people, right? It's like if let's say we hear somebody's message and we start following them, and God will say, all right, you're doing a good job, so why don't you go again after very few years? So yes, those saints, they come on their own volition, not because they are forced to get reborn in material world. But yes, you are right. It's a grace of God to get a human birth. Doesn't happen so easily.
That can only give us the chance to create more credit deposits. Credits can be done only when we come back again.
True, that's true. But then the game is not about earning credits. The final game is having enough credits to move outside where we don't have to earn any more credits. We are beyond earning. Yeah.
We don't need them. We don't need them.
Very true. Very true.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Thank you very much.
Radhe Radhe.
There is one question in the chat from Ashutosh ji. How Prayashchit works then?
How Prayashchit? I don't know, to be honest. Like, people do Prayashchits, different type of very austere Prayashchits and stuff like that as well. I don't know. It'll be a good question for Swamiji. Does it work? Can you negate your bad deeds? Maybe you have disciplined your mind. Maybe you have developed more dispassion, detachment, or done an austerity that may have its positive fruit separately. But can you neutralize your bad karma by doing prashchit? I'm not so sure. Maybe that might be a good question for Swami.
Okay. Aswina ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Aswina ji.
Radhe Radhe. So I wanted to ask you about nature versus nature discussion. So is our faith dependent, or rather a result of our nature or our nurture?
Nature versus nurture, right? It's a very nice question. Yeah, so the faith, it's very interesting question. So part of it is driven by our nature. Where did the nature come from? Nature comes from our past sanskars. Where did the past sanskars come from? Past sanskar come from the kind of choices we have made in the past and the kind of nurturing that supported that as well. So that is something that you are endowed with or gifted to us by God, especially if it is uplifting. Nurture aspect is also important because that plays a key role. So if you are born in a family, that is also arranged by God. So let's say in this life, we are not able to complete this journey. Arjuna asked this question to Lord Krishna. What happens if I'm not able to complete my journey in this lifetime? Will I be like that cloud which is swayed by a wind, which loses its basically, it cannot even rain through that cloud, right? Which gets swayed with the rain. What happens to that? So Lord Krishna says, then I will arrange for that person to be born in a family, where they will get that spiritual upbringing to begin with, the nurture part of it that you spoke about. That also happens with the grace of God. Having said that, it's not a formula for success, right? You may have the best of the natures, a good start, and you may have the best of nurture also, right? Good upbringing or good environment. How you play with it, that is determined with your free will, kriyaman in this life. And that plays the most important role. Just because you have a good head start because of your nature and nurture does not mean that you will achieve success. And at the same time, it does not mean that you cannot achieve success in this life. It really depends on how you exert your free will around it. So nature and nurture definitely helps. In addition to that, our effort in this life, it holds a lot of value. So it is said like it's like a game of cards. You may get the best of the cards, but if you play badly, you will lose with it. Or you may get the worst of the cards, but if you play well, you can still win with it. So to your point, nature is our own calling. Nurture is also given to us by God sometimes because conducive environment. You are born in a family, you get satsang early on. So that is also a gift of God because of, the choices or some of the things that we have truly desired. If we really desire for God and we have spent majority of our life making spirituality our priority, then God will make it easier for us. And the nurture, nature, both aspect will be endowed to us as a gift, basically. That's what Lord Krishna says further down in Bhagavad Gita as well. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
No worries. It's a huge blessing actually to get that right nurturing. How many people get that? Spiritual knowledge to begin with? Very few fortunate souls. Or how many people get satsang? Or how many people get the privilege to come in contact with a guru? And even if they do, how many people develop faith? That is determined by our nature also, right? Faith aspect, how much understanding we have developed on this topic. For some people, faith comes very quickly. For some, it takes lifetime, still faith doesn't come. They just have doubts, right? So I don't know what dictates that. Possibly they have not developed and contemplated deeply on this topic, or they have done a lot of negative chintan. I don't know what dictates that, but having an ability to develop faith is a huge benefit, huge advantage, because it's a journey of faith. Okay, maybe we can take one more question and then move on. I know we have to wrap up the segment at 10:15. If we have maybe a quick chant, somebody. Nice. All you need is love. You had a question too?
All you need is love and grace of God and Guru. That's the complete name this person has. Might be Kanji again. Yeah, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe. Nitin
Oh,
ji.
Anita ji.
Yeah.
Yes, Anita ji.
I want to have your perspective, Sage Bharat. When he died, he saw the deer and thinking about deer, and he got the birth of a deer. So being a sage, there is no point of error. It sets the bar high, there is no point, we cannot do error at all, zero errors. Being a sage, there is no point of error. So apart from that, he got the birth of the deer means So what level should we should be leading our thought, word, and action in this life? So I want to have your thoughts on that.
Okay, so let's first differentiate between a sage and a saint. Now, sage could be very elevated. Now, you might have, let's say you are going to the other side of a bank, and you are swimming, or going in a boat, and you are 99.9% there. Okay, and you think the journey is complete. Is it complete? It's not. You could still come back into the stream, right, and get swayed. So similarly, you may be very elevated. That doesn't mean you have completed your journey, and that doesn't mean you cannot fall down. In this path, Maharaj Ji very clearly explained, we are currently in sadhan bhakti, most of us who are trying to perfect that. After we have perfected sadhan bhakti, then God's grace start intervening. We start getting into siddha bhakti, bhav bhakti, mahabhav bhakti, and all that stuff. Maharaj Ji said, even in mahabhav bhakti, when you are in the advanced stage of bhakti, you can still fall down. Okay. Now, fall down because if you don't keep your knowledge pakka, or it can happen that even if you develop a pride or something, some of the afflictions of Maya, God, just to show you the perspective, he can do that with us as well, right? In case of sage Bharat, it happened. He just developed attachment and ignored. When knowledge slipped out, that's not an excuse. Even Vishwamitra and big sages have committed those kind of things, right? There are enough references in our scriptures around that. So just because you are in the advanced stage of bhakti does not give you a default immunity from falling down. That is where knowledge is very important. Our scriptures keep on reiterating it. Saubhari Muni, you hear that story, how his senses deceived him and what happened to him. There are enough stories in our scriptures. So the point here being, the knowledge has to be real solid in our mind, and that needs to be contemplated enough, and we have to rely on God's grace for that. If we slip, ignorance is not a bliss. It happened to sage Bharat. He was able to recuperate very quickly when he came as Jad Bharat in his next life, because he realized the mistake he did. But from our standpoint, we have to understand that if it could happen to a big sage like him, then who are we? We got to be double careful around this concept. Sages do not enjoy an immunity. They are in the advanced stage of devotion, but they are still not there. And even if you are at 99.9% there, you can still fall down. That is what our scriptures tell us. I hope I answered the question. Plus, it serves as a reference for us as well. All these stories are well documented for us to understand. Swamiji very clearly says, don't underestimate Maya. It is an energy of God. Do not underestimate it. Just be cautious of it. It can come in subtle ways. Developing an attachment to a pet. What if at the last moment it happens? What if there is something, there was a story, right? This guy, when he was about to die, because he had had a lot of non-veg, towards the end, the aroma of chicken getting cooked or something came to his nostrils, and all his thought process went there. Next life he had to come back as a tiger or a lion. So our senses can deceive us. We got to be careful. That is where knowledge comes in proper, and we have to, it's a lifetime practice. Our senses, we said, right, the vishya, the object of our senses are subtler than our senses. We don't know which one will captivate our imagination at what point. That's why we have to rely on God's grace all the time. See, it's a very treacherous path. God has made it, not made it, but we have made our choice. The plot has thickened. Unless we are very cautious and do it very systematically, it can deceive us. Any point? Okay, last two questions and then we'll wrap up our session. I think we'll have to skip because we are already near the time, allocated time for today. Or if there is one, maybe once up quick we can do if we have anybody. One maybe we can take, but we'll take a couple of questions.
Yeah. Okay. I had raised hand for that Katyayani Devi.
Oh, Katyayani, yes, you have to. I forgot that.
But first we'll hear Levaniji, and then if there's time. Yeah.
Yes, Levaniji, and then we'll do some Navratri special from Sandhya.
Okay, Levaniji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. I'm so sorry to play the role of correctors, but you say that one can fall from the Mahabhav state, but Mahabhav is the way ahead of Prema Bhakti, and after reaching Prema Bhakti, there is no way back. So you probably meant the Bhav Bhakti stage.
I'll send you the lecture. Find it. Even I was surprised when I heard that. Okay, he mentioned Mahabhav, which I was like, my goodness. Mahabhav also you can fall down, and I'll try to find that lecture.
He has said many times that after Prem Bhakti there is no falling down, because Prem Bhakti is already seed stage.
Okay, maybe I'll try to find that. Okay, because when I heard it, I was like, okay, Mahabhav also you can find, but maybe
Mahabhav is like stage, like one step below the Madanaki Mahabhav, which is like Radharani state. So maybe you mentioned the Bhav Bhakti, which is like
maybe the advanced
before
of
Prem Bhakti is,
But I'll try to find that because
I just like watched this videos of Maharaji these days. Like he described the stages after Prema Bhakti, and he said Prema Bhakti is already a state where you cannot fall down. So maybe he mentioned Bhav Bhakti stage, which is possible to fall down from this.
Yeah, I'll double check it. Now that you brought it, I'll double check it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Sorry for coming.
That's fine. That's perfectly okay. Okay, so Navaratri, over to you, Sandhya. Let's do that for the goddess now. We'll be waiting with our bated breath for your performance. So please go ahead.
No performance. It's just this.
Please go ahead.
I mean, just this Bhakti Shatak that has an interesting context to it. Like gopis would do Katyayani Devi Vrat to get Krishna as their husband. So, and just to kind of, I think, present that, I mean, that we can ask Katyayani Devi as part of Navratri for getting Krishna love. These two Bhakti Shatak has been written, and these are beautiful. So I just thought we can sing them, and it's in front of all of us, so all of us can sing it.
Sure.
Okay. Katyayani Devi गोविंद राधे तू तो श्याम की सखी है श्याम ते मिला दे राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे कात्यायनी मैया गोविंद राधे काऊ गोपिका ते गोपी प्रेम दिला दे राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे.
Beautiful, very nice, nicely sung, Sandhya. Lot of bhav and beautiful verse you brought in just at the right time. So for everything, all roads lead to Shyam and Krishna. That is how Maharajji takes us. So that is the beauty of it, and thank you for bringing it. The auspicious occasion of Navaratri, as we have this session. Maybe in one of the sessions I'll bring in is there any difference between Durga Ma and Radharani? I'll try to get that lecture. It'll be a good one to play in one of our sessions during Navaratris. Great. So tomorrow we will start with the probably with the science of work or something related to that. This week we're going to spend some time on that. But thank you again for your enthusiastic participation, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Radhe Radhe and happy Navaratri once again.
Yes, thank you everybody. Good evening and good morning. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Radhe Radhe.